everyone, I'm Drew Goldfarb. Welcome to this edition of Betting for the Cycle. We're giving you 4 picks for upcoming baseball games, matchups, or prop bets, and trying to go 4 for 4 to bet for the cycle. Here's how this all works in case you're joining us for the first time. I'm going to be posing 4 potential wagers or daily fantasy comparisons. Our experts and I will each give you our picks and rank them based on how confident we are in the outcome. Least confident pick will be our single. Most confident pick will be the home run. We'll each have a pick that we consider to be a home run, a triple, a double, and a single each and every week, giving us all a chance at betting for the cycle. Individual stats will be tracked all season long. Those will pop up on the screen in just a moment here. As always, I'm joined by Taylor Smith and Jim Beviglia. Guys, I'm going to take a moment to congratulate, myself for completing the second cycle in this show's history last week. So congratulations to me. I guess I'm just congratulating myself. All right.
Way to go, Drew.
Thank you very much. This week, we're beginning with the Baltimore Orioles. They've had a rough month so far in August, including losing 23-2 to Houston back on August 10th. They'll visit the Boston Red Sox this weekend for a 3-game series. So the question here, Taylor, is will the Orioles allow over or under 20.5 runs this weekend against Boston?
So interestingly enough, the last time they met, the Red Sox actually scored 17 in one game and still failed to crack 20 for the series. But on the season, the Red Sox averaged 5.7 runs per game. Baltimore allows 6.4. Boston is the second best offense in the league in terms of runs scored behind the Yankees. Obviously, the Orioles have had their fair share of issues with the Yankees over the season. The O's pitching staff is the worst in the league. This weekend, they're scheduled to have Aaron Brooks, Tom Eshelman, and Asher Wojciechowski on the mound. I don't love trusting the Red Sox. They've been burning us routinely all year, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the over on 20.5, and it's going to be my double this week.
Jim.
Yeah, that's such a big number. Taylor mentioned, the Red Sox have had problems, but their offense has not been the problem. They've been excellent all year long. Really, that top 5 or 6 in the lineup is a real gauntlet to go through. That said, I just feel like one of these guys from Baltimore can maybe give them a decent start. Aaron Brooks actually, back when he was at Oakland, shut the Red Sox out for 6 innings at the start of the year, believe it or not. So maybe he's got something. Wojciechowski hasn't been terrible. The middle game's going to be a problem. I could see the Red Sox scoring 10 there, but I just think it's a lot to cover there. So I'm actually going to go with the under here for Baltimore and to go with for Boston, actually, and I'm going to go with it as a single.
Baltimore hosted Boston back in late July, as Taylor pointed out, actually won 2 out of 3 against the Sox. In the 2 games they won, outscored Boston 16-2. In the loss, the Red Sox won 17-6. So 19 total runs would be the under for this wager. But the Orioles have only gotten worse from there. Over 20.5 runs means averaging 7 runs a game. They've allowed 7 or more runs in 12 of their last 19 games. They've given up 9 or more runs in 6 of their last 13, and it would have been 7, but it was an 8-run game that they gave up yesterday as of recording. Rain chances, basically none for this weekend in Boston. That might be my biggest concern making this pick, aside from the team that is playing Baltimore. I'm taking the over, but because we're talking about the Red Sox and they've lost 12 of their last 16 games, I'm only going to make it my double, but I'm taking the over. 7 runs a game against this Baltimore team seems like it should be doable for a team that is technically still in postseason contention. For question 2, we turn to the Philadelphia Phillies. Philadelphia fired hitting coach John Mallee on a Tuesday, and announced that former manager Charlie Manuel would take over the position for the rest of the season. Last weekend, the Phils scored 16 runs in the Friday through Sunday games against the San Francisco Giants. Jim, the Phillies host San Diego this weekend. Will Charlie Manuel get them over the hump and get them over or under 15.5 runs in this 3-game series?
Well, I think maybe long-term, a hitting coach change can make a big difference. But in the short term, you're talking about a team that's been scuffling and faces some decent pitching against San Diego this week. You've got Chris Paddock, who's been outstanding all year long. Dinelson Lamet, who has been hot of late. Joey Lucchesi, I still think is a good pitcher, even though his results haven't been there lately. The Phillies lineup, once you get past the top 5, there's a real drop-off there. I'm not crazy about the way they have their lineup situated either right now, with Harper hitting first and Hoskins hitting second. But I think they could lengthen it by maybe putting a speed guy up the top. But I just think it's a tough pitching group to go through this week. And I don't think the hitting coach makes much of a difference. I'm going to go with San Diego, and I'm actually going to make this. I'm going to go with that would be the under, and I'm going to make my run.
All right. Well, the Phillies have averaged scoring about 4 3/4 runs a game this season, a little over 14 per 3-game series. Padres allowed just under 5 runs a game, or a little over 14.5 per 3-game series, though that includes playing a lot of games at Petco Park. Manuel hasn't been in the dugout since 2013 when he was fired as the Phillies manager. Earlier this year, the Phillies scored 18 runs in their 3-game series against the Padres in San Diego. In about 120 fewer plate appearances, the Padres have allowed nearly 40 more runs on the road, and their opponent's OPS is up 50 points. San Diego's projected pitchers for this weekend have 7 starts this month. Padres are 2-5 in those games. I don't know if the 75-year-old Manuel will actually have a true impact, especially this early, as Jim pointed out. But history and the numbers I found say it's not going to matter because, again, that's just what they've been doing, and they're facing the Padres. It should be okay to average 5 and then maybe get 1 for 6. Maybe some early afternoon stuff in the weather forecast for Saturday. That is the one concern I really have, is that if they get a game that gets rained out, there's no way they average 8 runs a game. But I'm going to take the over, and like Jim, I'm actually going to make this my home run. So we're both very confident, but on opposite sides of the coin. Taylor, break the tie for us.
I'm not confident at all, which is why it's a single. I'm siding with Jim's side, though. I'll take the under. The Phillies are just bad. They're kind of like the Red Sox. They've been really underwhelming compared to expectations. Their offense has had injuries. Corey Dickerson got hurt last night. Not supposed to be bad, but that's still potentially something that could linger into the weekend, hopefully for my bet. Like Jim said, they faced 3 solid pitchers this weekend, probably the 3 best the Padres have in their rotation. Charlie Manuel just seems like more of a sentimental hire than anything else at this point. Maybe if he does have an impact, it'll happen at some point, but maybe not right away. I'll take the under. It's my single.
For number 3, we got a big series coming up this weekend in the National League. The Atlanta Braves host the Los Angeles Dodgers. LA has the best record in Major League Baseball. They are 80-41, tied with the New York Yankees. And the Braves, meanwhile, have surpassed the 70-win mark and are the second best team in the National League. So, which team wins this weekend series at SunTrust Park in Atlanta? I'm up first, and I'm just not going to overthink this. The Dodgers are the best team in at least the National League, if not all of baseball. LA has won 11 of their last 13, including a sweep of the St. Louis Cardinals. They haven't lost a 3-game series since just before the All-Star break. And the Braves have been, or the Marlins rather, have been, or who am I talking about? Yeah, the Braves have been a little bit hit and miss in the second half. A little tired this morning. Going 17-13 since the Midsummer Classic. The Dodgers should win the series. I'm pretty confident in this pick, especially given all the picks we're making this week. So I am making it my triple for the Dodgers to take 2 of 3 from Atlanta. Taylor, we'll go back to you. Do you agree? Are you taking LA, or are you pulling for the home side on this one?
Yeah, I'm never really going to bet against the Dodgers, and that's true again this weekend. It's my home run this week. The Braves are going to miss Kershaw and Buehler, which is nice, but they still face Ryu, Kenta Maeda, and Ginger Guard, Dustin May. So not the easiest trio there. The Dodgers will face Mike Fulton-Nevich, who's been horrible this season. He's going to profile really badly against that lefty-heavy lineup in particular on Saturday. So it's a great matchup. I think this is probably your NLCS preview, but I'm just going to stick with LA because that's just the obvious way to go, I think.
Jim, care to make it unanimous, or are you going to put something out there for Atlanta?
Yeah, I'm not going to make it unanimous. I'm going to go with Atlanta. All the numbers, you guys make a lot of sense. But I think at some point, this series probably means more to Atlanta than it does to the Dodgers. I think the Braves want to make a statement. Taylor mentioned no Kershaw, no Buehler, who I think are the real 2 aces there. As good as Ryu has been, I think that the Braves have the kind of lineup that can handle that. And I think the Braves aren't that far off from the Dodgers. I think in a 7-game series in the playoffs, it's a different story. But at home, I just feel like they're going to want this a little bit more. And so I'm going with the Braves, and I'm going to make it my triple.
Well, at least finally this week, we're seeing some, difference in our picks, unlike the last couple of weeks where we had just the one at the very end. So let's go with the last one to complete the cycle. We're turning this weekend's biggest series in the American League. New York Yankees and Cleveland Indians meet for a 4-game set this weekend in the Bronx. Sunday's scheduled pitching matchup features Mike Clevinger going for Cleveland up against Domingo Germán for the Yanks. Which player is the better daily fantasy play? Taylor.
This one's tough. They're both ace quality pitchers, but I'll take Clevinger. It's my triple. Strikeouts, as I always say, are the name of the game, and Clevinger blows Germán out of the water in that regard. 35.5% strikeouts for Clevinger, 25.9% for Germán. The Yankees are still a little watered down, even though it seems like they're crushing pitching every night. They're mostly doing it against the Orioles and Blue Jays, which isn't overly impressive. So Clevinger is probably the best pitcher they'll have faced for a while. Germán also doesn't have a long leash. He hasn't topped 100 pitches all year. Clevinger's done so in each of his last 5 or 6 starts, I think. So all things considered, I will take Clevinger, and that's my triple.
Jim?
Yeah, when you first brought this one up to me, I was all set to go Clevinger too, and then I kind of took a deeper dive into the numbers. On paper, just looking at their total stats, Clevinger is a much better pitcher, but if you look at home and road, Clevinger has been roughed up on the road. His ERA is near 5 on the road, whereas Germán is 8-1 at home with an ERA around 2. So I think when you take that into account and the fact that Clevinger had a nice streak going but then got roughed up last night, maybe he's still feeling the after effects of that. Germán just seems to own Yankee Stadium. So like I said, if this were in a vacuum, they were playing on a neutral site, I'd have no doubt Clevinger. But I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go with Germán, and I'm going to make it my double.
So I get to break the tie here. So there are 3 main ways that pitchers can earn points in daily fantasy. The first is by winning. Cleveland's won 5 straight games started by Clevinger. New York has won 7 straight games started by Germán. Each of them have earned a win in 6 of their last 7 starts, with the 7th start being a no decision. So no difference there. Second is by innings pitched. Every out worth 3/4 of a point. Since July 1st, Clevinger averages 6 1/3 innings per start. Germán 5 2/3. That's because of a 3 2/3 inning start against Minnesota a few weeks ago. So the final one, the only one where there's really a difference here, is strikeouts. Clevinger is a K9 rate of 12.8. Germán's is a little under 10, 9.7. Since I don't know that it's more likely for one of these teams to win more than the other, much less to give a decision to the starting pitcher than the other, I have to rely on the strikeout numbers and assume that these pitchers are both going to go somewhere around 6 innings. And if you're going to do that, Clevinger's K9 is better. He's also been more consistent. I know his road numbers have not been great, but Clevinger has struck out at least 7 batters in 5 consecutive starts. For me, that's not to put it over the top. I'm taking Clevinger, but these guys are both outstanding pitchers, so this is just my single pick for the week. Before we wrap things up, we're checking back in on our World Series picks. I've got Atlanta plus 400 to win the National League, Houston plus 170 to win the American League. At the moment, the Braves now plus 420, so I'm obviously going to take those improved odds. Astros, meanwhile, the heaviest betting favorites in either league, posting minus 140 odds at the moment to win the American League pennant. I'm going to stick with them at plus 170. Taylor, you have the Astros locked in at plus 180, the Dodgers plus 170. Like I said, Houston minus 140, LA now minus 130 to win the NL. Any changes you want to make?
I think those odds are completely insane, and I cannot believe they're just getting more insane as we get close to the playoffs. But I've got good prices on them relatively, so I'm going to stick with what I got.
Jim, you locked in the Astros and Dodgers. You got plus 170 on LA, plus 150 on Houston. Any change you want to make? The Yankees are up there nearly plus 200 right now.
Yeah, and I had the Yankees for such a long time, and I think that's good odds to have them at, but I still like the Astros better. The team that intrigues me, I'm not switching, by the way, I am keeping this, but the team that intrigues me, actually, if they can get in a position where they're comfortable in the wild card chase, is the Mets, just because of their starting pitching. So, that could change if they go on another streak and they get to where they're leading the wild card chase, I might consider. But for now, I'm going to stick with what I have.
I'm touched. That makes
I
me
knew you'd like that, Drew.
Well, I appreciate that. And on that great note, that'll do it for this week's edition of Betting for the Cycle. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the Odds On Favorites YouTube channel. And check back next week where we'll show you the stats of how we did and give you our latest picks. For Jim Beviglia and Taylor Smith, I'm Drew Goldfarb. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.